All right, here we are, episode 2 of Talking Out My Ass. First episode was with Celeste Spaghetti, for those of you who watched, and we talked about gay sex. So now we have second show, new guest. It's Roxy. Welcome, Roxy.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on and being my second guest on this ridiculous show I have going on.
Very happy to.
All right. So for those of you who haven't seen the first episode or you're just tuning in, so how the show works, my guest gives me a topic, and I basically try to interview them about a topic. I have no idea what it is, and I'm just expecting another ridiculous topic, but who knows? So Roxy, what is your topic?
I think I'm gonna go with ass cancer.
Ass cancer.
No, I'm totally kidding. We're
Oh,
gonna talk about ghost.
oh, we're gonna talk about ghosts. Okay. Whew. Whew. I was like, here we go again.
I needed to keep you on your toes.
Okay. Ghost the band, right? Yeah.
Yes, the band. It could
Okay.
be the movie. I guess I haven't seen it. It could be. I don't know. Insert some other third thing.
I
But
haven't seen the movie Ghost either, except I
okay,
just
good,
know like
good.
the famous one scene, I think.
That's with Patrick Swayze, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay, cool. See, we know more than
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We're already doing good. All
Yeah.
right. So Ghost the band. I've never listened to them. I know they're getting bigger and bigger every year, it seems like, or every
Mhm.
week, really, from people I've talked to. What kind of music does Ghost play?
Well, first off, if you haven't listened to Ghost, just don't. You're fine. Um, No, so it really depends on the album you listen to. They have five of them. The first album kind of is like a Black Sabbathy kind of vibe, maybe some like Pink Floyd even, and then it goes all the way up to the current album being more of like a. Sorry about the dog, by the way. He's very vocal. Um, like a more of like a rock kind of just like more mainstream rock, I guess you could say. But they all do have a satanic theme to the albums.
A satanic thing to all of them.
Yeah. The way
So,
that people describe it is like Satan meets the band Kansas
hmm,
or like ABBA if you're more of a fan of them. Really depends.
I'm just now picturing the guy who's the lead singer doing Dancing Queen, and that's a very exciting sight to
Yeah.
really see.
That's why I've seen them like 12 times. It all works out.
So now I've
I
seen
just drank this and it's not open. Clearly, we're doing great.
I've seen it's how do you pronounce it? It's Papa, is it Emeritus?
I guess it depends. Like, I hear people say, like, emeritus, yeah, or emeritus, or I don't think there's like one set way to do it, but
All right. Yeah, obviously we saw that he threw the first pitch out for the White Sox last year, which is
he did.
I think I was at that game. No, maybe not.
It
I don't
was on like
remember.
a it was on a Thursday, so I don't think we
Oh,
would have been.
doubtful then. I remember you
Yeah,
you got you got really close to the field because you wanted to record, right?
yeah. So they played in between two shows that I went to. They played in Peoria, and then they ended up playing in Green Bay. And on the way, they stopped at the Sox game, and I ended up filming it, like doing a live recording rather for this Deal or No Deal group I'm in for them. So it's like you put have an item for sale, and you kind of people bid and see what they want to. The latest one is booty shorts. Ghost made shorts with like this logo on it, but
Oh,
in
nice.
hot pink,
Oh,
and it just says Ghost right on the dump truck. And so there's going to be a raffle for a pair of those in this group specifically. Um, and then I know this is like your thing, but I want to preface with one very special gift that Ghost had come out with a couple of years ago. Well, actually, it was probably around like 8 or 10 years ago. They came out with a dildo. It was like a book that you opened, like it was meant to look like a Bible. And then when you opened it, it was the dildo, and you could either get in black or gold, or and then it had like a little scroll thing, and it was like divorce papers.
so many
So,
gifts in one thing.
yeah, so that's like very rare now. People spend like $1,000 on it, and I think it's funny because people say it's always unused. When they sell to me, I would like it to be used.
Oh,
Like, let there be like, how am I supposed to know it's a good product?
right. We need reviews on this.
But yeah. So if you just holding this dildo, like, where has it been? Where hasn't it been?
You want a like a vehicle history, but for the for the dildo.
Yeah, I want to be able to like Carfax it.
Oh my God, could you imagine? Should be like pretty public information. Now you've seen Ghost 12 times.
12 times, yeah.
Okay. All in Chicago, or all? Obviously, you said you went to the one in Green Bay,
No,
or yeah.
yeah, been like here, Peoria, Madison, Brooklyn, New York, uh, I said Grand Rapids, and then like one other town that its name escapes me. I like it because now that Ghost has gotten more popular, it's gotten a lot more popular in like the queer scene for some reason. And when I say some reason, I mean like because Ghost doesn't really identify as like anything in particular. They're very like, I would say neutral. The actual lead singer is very pro LGBTQ plus, but like their like stage presence doesn't really elicit anything in particular. But the audience gets progressively gayer as I've like been out there, and it's pretty great. Like you just see so many different people. You see men dressed up like the lead singer, so they're wearing makeup and all that stuff. And I like that it's getting gayer. I think it's a positive for the community.
That is a positive for community in that sense of it. I mean, yeah, that you'd see those guys in those makeup and everything. You're thinking, yeah, I don't. I mean, everybody adopts an icon differently, I guess.
I would say so. By the way, I'm so sorry about
Oh,
you
you're
going.
totally fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just
That's
hoping
why I
mine
don't
doesn't.
like
Just hoping mine doesn't run down here and throw up on my floor. Um, yeah,
you mind you don't.
it's been a day.
Yeah, sorry about that.
When did you first see Ghost live?
So funny. Funny isn't the right word, but we all have different forms of humor. I saw Ghost for the first time May 31st, 2018, and they played in Milwaukee. I saw them at like Pabst Theater, one of their like the tinier venues, and Ghost used to play just by themselves, and so it was Ghost for an hour, and then there was an intermission, and then they'd play for another hour. So during the first intermission, or like right as the intermission started, somebody passed out,
Nope.
hit the floor, and they went into cardiac arrest and they ended up passing away. And so they canceled the second half of the show. My dumbass thought that that was part of the show.
Oh.
I thought that they were like sacrificing somebody to Satan for this band, and that like in the second half of the show they would come back out and like they were some anointed fan that got like selected. No, no, no.
Oh.
Very, very dead, and I'm very sorry that I had to admit that. But yeah,
That's good. I mean, if you've never been to a show and you're like thinking about who they are as a band, like I would have probably thought the same exact thing.
I'm glad that that's not a super rare thought, but
No,
it was nice. They made up the second half of the show. All the proceeds of like a shirt and a poster went to the family
that's
and
good.
stuff like that. So yeah, but bad on my
Yeah.
part.
Oh
I
man.
apologize for that.
Oof.
To the family that's definitely not going to watch this ass cast, but that's okay.
I guess we don't really know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, of the 12 you've been to, do you have a most memorable or a favorite one?
Besides the one where someone passed away.
Yeah. Besides the one where someone died.
Yeah. We started out really high there.
That's
So,
true.
and when I mean high, I just mean like in terms of what the fuck could possibly happen. No, I really don't. I think I kind of unfortunately peaked at that first one.
Hmm.
They were the first band that I saw 4 days in a row,
Oh.
and they were also the first band that I traveled out of state for. I saw them in, like I said, in Brooklyn. So I got on an airplane, me, um, and saw them there. It was cool. Like met some good friends. Seeing them, I don't know if you can say the same. Like if you've met anybody at shows and now you're like friends with them or anything, but I can say that about Ghost at least. But Ghost people are really weird. Like it's kind of such a niche band because they were so small for a long time that like a lot of people feel like that's like their child. And so you talk to people and they're like, I remember when I saw them in like a 10-person venue and we like all fondled each other afterwards. And I was like, okay,
All
I had
right.
to pay to fondle. Big
No.
bucks now. So,
So I don't. I mean, obviously on your Twitter, you're very open about Ghost and everything, and how much you've seen it. So you just bought 8 shows worth of tickets.
so far
Six. Okay.
six. So yeah, it'll be uh, St. Louis, Clarkston, Michigan, which is like right outside of Detroit, I guess.
Okay.
Uh, Milwaukee, and then here in Chicago. And then Celeste and I are going actually to Camden, New Jersey for the show. And then I'll see them in LA. But then I'm trying to get tickets to the second show that they added. And then maybe I'll go to Phoenix before that. They kind of like close out the tour that way because Ghost is really big on, they mentioned frequently throughout the show that they want everybody to fuck each other and they want to tickle taints. And so I figured if I travel a little bit and expand my horizon, then I'll be able to, maybe, who knows, maybe New Jersey taints are a little different. I've never been to New Jersey, so.
Maybe some of them are more rightfully or ready to be tickled, I guess, you know.
You said you were in New Jersey for um, like a layover or something for your flight back
Yeah.
home. Did you notice
Yeah.
any taints being any different than the ones
No,
out here?
I
Mm,
mean, I,
sounds
I
like you
I
didn't have a good
was
time then.
I was laying under the seats in the airport so I could look up at taints, but I didn't. Then I realized the seat was there, so that didn't really help me. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I kind of got caught in an awkward spot. I couldn't really roll out under people's legs. I just kind of sat there for a couple hours
Sure.
and
I'll
let it
report
happen.
back then. Celeste and I will report back on what we experienced while we're in New Jersey.
Might have to make that into a short web series. Finding the
The
right
the
taints in New
taints of
Jersey.
America, and then just because I feel like everybody will think New Jerseys are like really gross, and it's my job to confirm and validate that.
The taint detective.
We're onto something.
We're on to something. Now, Ghost, you said it has done 5 albums?
Yes,
And then I
correct.
assume you've seen them on tour for all 5 of those albums, or
No, actually,
no?
so Ghost started as a band in 2010,
Okay.
and I didn't see them until 2018 for the first time. So they've gone through the way it works is that every new album is like a new lead singer. So it's technically the same guy, but he dresses up in like different anti-pope costumes. And so it was, and they're very creative. It's Papa 1, 2, 3, and then there's a cardinal in the middle there, and then there's Papa 4. So they really put a lot of time and effort into the Papa names. But yeah, it's just I guess it's supposed to like just kind of be a figure for the vibes of all the albums. So like the first Papa is like very dark, sinister. They all wear like cloaks and you can't see their faces. Well, you can't see any of their faces, but the idea is like they're very mysterious and dark. And this album, like since it's more poppy, I would say he wears like a sequined like blazer and he's like singing at high octaves and it's a lot more like it's a lot lighter, I would say. So it's kind of meant, I would say, to be like a symbolism of the album more or less.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense. I mean, especially because you want the vibe of the show to kind of match what your album like felt to people.
Yeah, I think Ghost does a good job of like making it a show and not just like a performance. To me, that's different. Like I guess when you think about it for like female led concerts primarily, like your pop stars, your Beyonces and your Dua Lipas and stuff, it's all about like the perform like the show and what the spectacle they put on versus like the just being like her sitting up there sitting in a seat and talking like singing nonsense or whatever. It's not nonsense, but you get it. And that's kind of like what Ghost is about. It's not just them singing songs. They're like there's pyrotechnics and there's guitars and they revive like a dead papa, and so the idea is like it's a form of entertainment.
Yeah,
Nothing.
well, I get that.
It's better than the Bulls that I'm currently watching.
But it's the TNT Bulls. They
I
don't
know.
lose.
What is it like 20 games now
So 20, yeah,
or
23 or
something like
something like
that?
that. Yeah. But I did also see they were down by 12 points and Giannis hadn't scored yet or something crazy.
It's like they cut it to 7, but maybe they'll be on the other side. This is going to turn into more like a Bulls one, I'm sure. But like they're going to be on the other side of a comeback.
We'll see. So do you have a favorite album of the 5 that they've done, or?
Uh, Probably Infestissimum, which is their second album. Um, it so every album consists of obviously speaking like not negatively of religion, but either like more of the devil, anti-God stuff. So the second album is very much like poking fun at religion and how religion is just not, you know, what society should be ingrained with. They um there's this song where he basically just calls people who are religious imbeciles and whatnot, so that's a little more like satanic than anything else. But the newest album is actually pretty cool because it's a little more like thought inducive, I guess, or whatever the word is that I'm trying to think of. Like, there's a song Kaiserion, and Kaiserion is actually like a historical figure where, like, if I'm understanding her story correctly, she's like one of the first people to kind of like use uh, science to like formulate her beliefs more than like religion, and that how that caused like a lot of problems in that time because you don't obviously like defy God. So I think that album's cool too, just because it makes you think a little bit. So I don't know. I don't typically like to think, but for some reason with them, I don't mind doing it a little bit.
Right. Now you said like is each album's different? Like it's one's a little darker. You said one's a little more poppy, stuff like that. Now,
Yeah.
do you like doing a shuffle on that? Is that a lot more fun, or is it do you listen album by album, or like
No, I
what
think
gets you like your best Ghost
sorry.
experience?
Yeah, I think a little bit of everything, just because there's songs that are just so incredibly like um, sexual too, like without really realizing it. Like there's a song that they have called Monstrous Clock, and that in itself is its own thing. Like Monstrous Clock is in itself its own uh, like a clock, or you get it, like it has its own meaning. It's not made specifically for this song,
Mm.
but they use it in the song as basically like you're literally when you're fucking, you're coming at the same time, and that in itself is like you're like creating, becoming one for the devil, and creating uh like the anti Jesus, like the devil's son. But you have to come. They literally say come together as one. And so during the shows, they're like they used to end the show with that, and they would say, "All right, now we're gonna come out here and do this song, like, and we're gonna crush it. Now we're all gonna go home and fuck each other." And
Nice.
so yeah, I just think some of them are just cool, and they have a couple instrumental songs to kind of segue through the show as like through costume changes. But one I cannot pronounce it for the life of me, but it's like Hell Monster or something, and it basically means hell window. And what that meant is like in the old times, it meant like when women would wear clothing that revealed their boobs, like whether cleavage or like side boob, that was like considered a sin to like to look, not to wit, not to have it showing, but for men to like look and potentially like defy their current lovers or something. So it's like the idea that we all live in sin. But if
I mean,
checking out boobs is a sin, I'm the, I'm a huge sinner.
I'm pretty sure everybody's a sinner in that regard.
I think Celeste might be the biggest sin out of everybody. There's no way that we've looked. I think collectively, you and I have looked at less boobs than her.
Probably, I would
It's a.
definitely. Yeah.
I'm willing to make that bet. We'll have to ask her after this.
It'd be a good bet. We can definitely make that a poll.
You should.
uh, so you said like the papa changes like it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Does the name change or is it still emeritus or whatever?
No, yeah, that's why I kind of like highlighted. They're not very creative. It's literally just
Oh,
Papa Emeritus 1, 2, 3,
oh, okay.
and then 4. I don't know really where that came from, but um, yeah, the costumes change a lot, but
Hmm.
like they themselves, it's just it like the lead singer is literally like this 5'7" super skinny Swedish man. Like I think I weigh more than him.
Hmm.
And but then when he's on stage, he's also like 10 feet tall. Like I don't know if you've like ever met the people that you really, like enjoy performing. I know you're big into like comedians and stuff, but
Mhm.
like if you've ever met comedians that are kind of like shorter on stage, but then you meet them in person and somehow they're like 8 feet tall just because of
Yeah.
how like they carry themselves. That's how I felt when I met him. the first time I ever saw Ghost, I did like a meet and greet. I was like, fuck it, I'll just, kind of splurge a little bit. And I met the guy, and I was looking at him face to face, like we're basically the same height. But I felt like I was looking 10 feet up because it's like very weird. I don't know. It's like just the way that certain people carry themselves. Like he's like this, but he's also so that was interesting. I'd never like experienced that before.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good that you see them in that way,
Yeah,
because it's not like you're looking down at them like, oh, you're not what I wanted you to be. Like, I guess that's more humanizing, but at the same time, it's more like somebody you respect. You're like, oh, yes, I see you as bigger than you are. So it's good, like you respect a band like that. You're not just going to the first show and you're like, eh.
yeah. Like oh, I that's what I kind of worry about. Like that's why I don't see a lot of movies because I'm worried that I'll sit through a movie for like 2.5 hours and I'll be like, ah, shit, I didn't like that, and now I need my 2.5 hours back. But with concerts, I feel like that's a little less likely.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, you're a big movie. No, you're more like a TV guy.
Yeah, both.
Both. Like,
But
do you have? If I can interview you too,
yeah,
but like,
absolutely.
what's the last movie that you saw that like you just were like, oh shit, this just wasn't good. Have you seen one recently that's like, even if it's not like a new movie, if it's new to you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, this is stupid to say, but the new Black Panther movie, I did not like it. I thought it was
Okay,
just
that's okay.
fine. I was like,
Yeah, that new
whatever.
Ant movie's coming out tomorrow too. I think
Yeah,
I'm curious about how that's gonna
and
go.
like
But do you
sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead? No, 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 please.
I don't really read reviews or like look at anything before I go see a
Yeah.
movie, just because like I want my own experience. Because I've found if I keep like, oh, it's a really good movie, it's gonna be huge, and I go see it, I'm like, eh. People
Hmm.
are down talking it. Oh, it's really, and then I go back. I'm like, it was really good, and I'm like, wait, it was
Right.
fine. It wasn't really good. Like
Yeah.
my persuasion skewed.
Hmm.
So I just kind of go in and look at it for myself. Like I'm just going to a movie. Like when I know what the movie is, like for a Marvel movie, I'm just going there to sit there for 2 hours and have some fun. Like I don't care
Yeah.
about.
Like,
I'm not looking
there's
at a
no.
story. I'm not looking at everything else. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, or trying to be like accurate to the comic
right.
books. It's like,
It's yeah.
did you enjoy it?
It's animated stuff and things go boom. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
don't care.
pretty colors.
But
Metacoompo's leaving
yeah, I've
again.
never had that
GG.
experience with like music though, because obviously you generally you listen to the people that you go see, or you're aware of the people that you're going to see in person. I
Yeah.
mean, otherwise, like I mean, there's openers and stuff that you've never heard of, and you end up
Hmm.
like, oh, this is fine, this is good, whatever, But yeah, I don't think I've ever really been to like a concert setting where I'm just like, I wasted my time here, because I guess it's just because you're more involved than just like sitting in a chair watching a movie or a show.
Yeah, the first time that I went to see a band that I like genuinely, or not even a band, it was just a guy that like I genuinely didn't know was Young Gravy.
Mm.
I saw Young Gravy for the first time. I had no idea like what to expect. I had heard like his TikTok stuff, but had no idea what he was like. And the people that were there, it was clear that this was like their first time like out and about since COVID.
Mm.
And that some were like freshly 21 or had turned 21 like during COVID. So they couldn't do anything. These people had no idea how to be in the wild. They had no idea what to do. Like they're paying $18 for a white claw and they're just bumping into people and I'm like, oh, your mom probably dropped you off here. It's just scary.
You're out in the wild of this. Has Ghost ever been part of like a festival or anything that you've ever seen them at, or are they mostly just
Yeah.
tour on their own?
So they're actually doing a bunch of festivals in Europe before they come here,
Oh,
but I saw them at Open Air. I'm not sure if you're familiar with. It
no.
used to be at that SeatGeek arena,
Oh, okay.
like where the Fire
Mm.
used to play. And it used to be a really big festival. Like Ozzy Osbourne's played there, like Slayer, Rammstein played there a few times. And the year that Ghost played, the lineup was fucking awful. And like
Oh,
I
no.
liked it, but like it was that day it was like Ghost and System of a Down, which they're fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel any certain way about them, but I don't know, festivals are kind of a drag usually because you're getting just like either like a shitty like time slot or as a really big fan of a band, like to me seeing a band that you really love at a festival sucks because they're playing all the songs that like everybody knows. which to a certain extent, at when you're a big enough fan, I want to hear the deep cuts. I want to hear the shit you never play. But then you're playing like the radio hits, or you're playing the stuff that like some motherfucker came to hear because that's the only song they know. I'm like, that's fine. They're valid fans.
Mhm.
That's cool. But like, I don't want to hear that. I listened to that song 40 times on the radio before I
Yeah.
got here.
The radio hits. Yeah, I was just wondering, like in a festival setting, like people who have never seen Ghost before, like ever really watched anything they did, like they're there to see a totally different band, and like Ghost comes up. What are they thinking when they're seeing this kind of
Oh yeah,
show?
I think like the first time that Ghost played in America, if I remember correctly, they played at a festival, like in Maryland or something, and people had absolutely no fucking idea what was going on because they used to be the current ghouls. So that's like the support band, they call them, the nameless ghouls. Nobody like people know who they are, like the fans and stuff, but on stage they're unidentifiable. They wear clothing that completely covers them. The only thing that's visible are their hands. Um, and so their identities are essentially like protected. Like nobody knew who the lead singer of Ghost was until like 2019. So like from 2010 to 2019, like people knew who it was after a while, but he didn't like publicly display his face until 2019 because the idea was like the mystery behind it, the logic of to him of like, oh well, if you don't, if it's mysterious, then it's like attractive and like alluring, and it'll draw people in, which is obviously I would say true. Um, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I went on a rant. I don't remember what I was gonna say, but the ghouls are cool just because they dress up in like industrial like masks, and they have tubes coming out of them now. That's what I was gonna say. So the point is that like nobody knows what the hell's going on. Like when you see them at a festival, you think that they're either gonna sacrifice themselves. You don't know, like the devil's coming on stage. They're like, I don't know if you've seen that meme, if I've shared it with you guys before, but like that meme where it's like a pink house, a pink like Barbie house next to like an
No,
all
yeah,
black house.
yeah,
And it's like what Ghost sounds like or looks like versus what Ghosts sound like. And it's absolutely true.
yeah.
It's absolutely true. Like the first ghouls used to wear like all black. Like it sounds really bad, but it almost looked like a KKK outfit. But it obviously wasn't. But it was like head to toe black. Like you couldn't see them at all. And then they eventually came out with like these masks that have horns in them, and they're supposed to look like more devilish. But the concept that they're very mysterious, I think, really makes it like interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if people are, going to like some of these rock festivals, like how Black Sabbath was back in the day with Ozzy Osbourne doing the crazy shit he would do, like
Yeah, with
I
the
mean,
bat and stuff before.
yeah, I mean, there aren't really any types of that like anymore. Obviously, that was
Mm-hmm.
like a really old school thing.
Yeah,
But
and
obviously, like if you're coming out to see somebody like Ghost and you're not expecting to see like a spectacle, I guess it can be cool, but at the same time, you're
right.
like, kids, let's go home.
Did you ever watch those? I think it came out back in like 2004. Those heavy story of metal shows on VH1 by
I don't
chance?
probably not.
Oh, so cool. Like if you're ever, I think there's a dude who uploaded them on YouTube because they were like never put out on DVD.
Mm.
They were only like they aired them like a few times and then that was it. But it basically just it talks about how metal evolved from like basically like Black Sabbath being like one of the first instrumental origin bands, and then developing all the way up to like hair metal. So they're talking about like Poison and all that stuff. But then they have, and Ghost isn't in this obviously, but just for conversation, like they talk about black like death metal. Those guys are absolutely nuts. Like, and that's what people think Ghost is gonna do. Like, those bands are the ones that like actually burn churches, like over in like European countries. And then like there's the one band which I'm never gonna remember their name, but like the one guy in the band killed the other guy in the band. Just like, and so he's in prison for life because he just murdered him.
Oh my.
And so like that's the idea. I think that like that's the kind of vibe Ghost gives off to people, and then they come out and they're like, hey, you like your taint tickled? And it's just like people don't know what to expect.
we we want to think people are going to be scared shitless by our music, but really we're just going to have some fun with them.
Yeah. well, we need to clear the shit because we're gonna have a fun little time with your behinds. It's usually like just something stupid that they're talking about. But yeah, I think there's just like it's kind of funny because the lead singer's name is Tobias Forge. He's commented before on how like being masked makes him more confident,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of funny because it's like, what is this silly little European man wanting to say that he can't just say without a mask? Like he wants to talk about like taints. Like, is that so? Like you just can't talk about that without a little mask on? Like, talk about it, man. Do you want to like you want to go back and like have an orgy? Do it. Like, don't be a pussy. Just
Live your life.
say it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're based out of Europe. So there's these like Swedish or
Yeah. So the lead singer is Swedish. So the way it works is like it's a little I wouldn't say like complicated, but the people that you see touring are just there for the tour. They don't necessarily have a lot of involvement in the actual album creation itself
hmm.
because Tobias sings, plays the drums, and does the guitar. So it's pretty much just him in the studio. And he's had like Dave Grohl play drums before on certain songs. There's like a couple songs on that Infestissimo album. I'm pretty sure that like Dave has drummed for. Um, but yeah, when they go in and do that, it's just him and maybe like one or two other people, and then the other like five or six are just, excuse me, solely for the tour. But yeah, they are based in Sweden, but they're slowly becoming like an American band because I think a lot of it is just purely geography. Because like, when you're in Europe, which you know me, absolute pro at geography. I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. But like you like everything's so spread out, and like don't get me wrong, everything is spread out here, but it's so densely populated despite
Hmm.
being spread out. So like they can go to like 10 states here arguably and see and like play in front of like triple the people than they would in like Europe. And so they play here all the time. Like I'm seeing them, if I go to all the shows that I'm planning to, I'll have seen them 20 times in 5 years, which is like a little bit of me just hyper fixating. I'm not ashamed to admit that, but like it's an accessibility thing at the same time.
Right.
So it's just nice. Have you seen like a band? Not like that many times, but like, are there any bands that you've seen like multiple times?
I've seen the Black Keys twice. We were gonna see them a third time, but then COVID happened. So no, I mean,
Yeah.
seen them again their latest tour, and then I've seen the Zach Brown band four times.
Oh yeah, you saw them at Wrigley, right? You
Yeah,
traitor.
just some at Wrigley in June, July, August, whatever it was last year. They were there.
Oh, 2022, right?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
I've also seen them at Target Field.
Oh my
Oh,
god, how
I'm
could
an
you?
I'm an enemy of the state. I know.
And you tried to say that you're the biggest fan because you got this 20 game postcard.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, you held on to that, and we're proud of you for it. So,
Thank you. I'm so strong and brave. Uh, um, what's the smallest venue that you've been to see Ghost? Like, and how? Like,
I still caught them kind of late in the whole thing. Um, I think the smallest venue I've seen them at is Aragon.
okay, yeah, we saw the Black Keys there.
Yeah, did you go to that
Um,
Ahoy show?
yeah, the Ahoy show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was so much fun because it was so small. They played a lot of deep tracks. Like they were barely
That's
playing
sick.
anything off their newest albums, and I was just like, "Oh, this is the show you want to be at."
I know we've already been talking for 35 minutes, but I like the idea that this is just expanding into music.
Yeah,
I
basically.
know it's ghost themed, but
Yeah.
like I like that it's just kind of. Do you have like a bucket list band?
I mean, not really. I mean, my music is so
Yeah, I know
diverse.
it's
So
all
like,
over the
I don't
place.
really like Zach Brown band's probably the one I've clinged to most. Is just because I've seen theirs so much and I've listened to all their albums at least 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you know, Black Keys are another one that are big. I saw Chance the Rapper a couple times.
Oh, that's cool.
When he did
What did you think of him? I've
he's
heard he's
fun.
kind of like sold out a little bit recently. I cannot say that. I
I
don't
mean, he
know enough
hasn't
about
made
him
an
to.
album since 2019, so
Okay, that makes sense then.
But I mean, his shows are fun. He did the Special Olympics benefit in 2019, 2018 at Northern Island.
Oh,
So
sweet.
it
That's
was like a
cool.
big show. Jason Mraz was there and Smokey Robinson before he was an 82-year-old sex icon.
Was he the guy in the Super Bowl commercials? Or no, where was he recently? He's been coming up, Smokey.
I know he was at the Grammys. And this is his new
That's
album's
what
called
it was. He was like on
Gasms.
TV. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it was. He was like a sex icon or
yeah.
something.
I mean, that was a lot. That was a fun show.
Zach Brown Band puts on a great show. Like I saw them at Wrigley a couple times working
mhm,
there. And it's the whole band itself. It's like when they
yeah.
say Zach Brown Band, the
Oh
band
yeah, it's
is
like
what like
11 people. It's huge.
exactly. And like they all put just the way everything gets put
Mhm,
together. Like another guy I've been wanting to see, even though like I'd still say he's more country, but to me it's like a different kind, is that Chris Stapleton guy.
mhm.
That the guy who I think he said sang the national anthem and
Yeah,
made
he did. Mhm.
made the Eagles head coach
Yeah,
cry.
cry.
Apparently, it was so good.
It's it can really hit you in the spirit.
I guess, yeah. It made my ass cheeks hugged my couch really nicely following that performance, so I completely understand. It was funny when I went to the Bulls game against the Spurs a couple weeks ago. There, it was obviously it's Black History Month, and so they sing the what is it like the let your like their anthem,
Yeah.
the let your voice
Mhm.
or whatever it is. It's a really nice song, but there were so many people that stood up for that, and then when the anthem started, we just sat down and I was like, all right, we paid homage to the right anthem tonight.
Yeah, the people's
But
anthem.
I wanted. Have you seen with going to Colorado a lot? Have you seen a show at Red Rocks?
I haven't. I've wanted to. We haven't. I know we wanted to see the Black Keys out there like many years ago, but we just haven't gotten out there for a show because like every band we want to see plays there at like a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night or something.
Yeah, right.
So it's like super inconvenient. But I mean we're monitoring things that like we wanted to see there. Like their comedians do shows there.
Oh, I didn't realize it was like. I guess it makes sense because
Yeah,
it's a
it's.
stage
I
at the
mean,
end of the
not
day. But
many of them do, but it's
yeah,
a venue that they can use. But
I
yeah, it's
keep
mostly music. But
that's cool. I keep seeing on TikTok this guy who like runs down the stairs as fast as he humanly can at Red Rocks. And I don't know how he hasn't busted his shit, but I just feel like those just don't get uploaded.
yeah,
So
like
maybe
he
he
seems to be
has.
limping in this one. I think this
Yeah.
is not the first take.
Why is this? Why is this huge gash on his
He's
forearm?
bleeding a lot.
But I wanted to see Elton John really badly. Um, and I had the opportunity to on his like eighth farewell tour that just came through recently, but I didn't pull the trigger and I kind of regret it. But apparently he's coming back for another farewell tour. So there's always another opportunity, it
Man,
seems.
a lot of people want to bid him farewell.
I think Cher had like 15 farewell tours.
And then she
So
did a residency in Vegas or something too.
yeah, well, that's what the B-52s, I don't know if you listen to them. That's what they did. They had like this giant farewell tour. I saw them for the first time at Riot Fest a couple of years ago. They sing that Rock Lobster song.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so they were like, "We're gonna do this big farewell tour, and this is gonna be it for us. And we're really glad that you guys came out." And then like the second to last show, they were like, "We have a huge announcement," and they're literally doing a Vegas residency. It's like, okay, just admit like,
We're
hey,
saying
we're kind of
farewell to
strapped,
touring, but we're gonna do this here.
or just like just admit it. Just say, hey, we're strapped for cash,
All right.
and we
This
know you're gonna come out.
this tour was actually more expensive than we thought it was gonna be, so we need to keep playing to pay off this tour.
Well, and not to like make the conversation go elsewhere, but like I think it would just be so much better if, like, for example, athletes like when they get caught using like steroids, we're just like, yeah, I did it. I didn't think I'd get caught. And then, but they're like, oh no, I slipped and fell on the needle that was somehow on my bed, and or I ate something I shouldn't have. It's like, no, bitch, just admit I took this because I wanted a competitive advantage and I got caught and I fucked up.
I was trying to shoot hard drugs. I grabbed the wrong syringe in the doctor's
Yeah.
office.
Would you prefer it be heroin? I don't think so. And I just think there's like, for some reason, they like just, they think we're all suckers. And
Right.
it's like, just fucking admit
Like
it. Like, just
we're not
admit you needed the tour money.
right.
I'm gonna go either way. I don't care.
Yeah. Do you have so on the upcoming ones that you're currently do have tickets to? Are you like excited for a specific one, specific venue or anything, or out of the ones that you picked?
So I have trouble getting excited about a lot of things because trauma dump. I was disappointed a lot as a kid. Um, but the shows they're playing in LA are at the Forum. So I've never
Oh,
been there
nice.
before, but I think that'll be a pretty cool venue. But it's also a phone free show.
Mm.
Um, they're giving you, I don't know if you've been to a show like
Yeah,
that
like
where
the
they give you the little,
pouches. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know how that works. Like, I guess like you put them in there, and then if you need it, God forbid, there's like special areas in the
yeah. There's
venue
like
where you can
stations. They'll
go.
just unclip it. Yeah.
Okay, because so the thought is that with every new album, like I said, they put out a new papa, so they kill the old papas. So there's no like chance of those other papas coming back without there being obviously some like resurrection or something. But
Mm.
what somebody thinks is going to happen because in LA right now on this like some side of a building, there's this giant poster of or excuse me, of Papa Emeritus, and it says Jesus is coming underneath it. And so that's going to be on the 8th, and then the show on the 11th is 3 days later, which I think that's some religious thing. Like with Jesus, if he died and he was resurrected like 3 days later or something.
Mhm.
Jackie, when you listen to this later, you'll know I'm right.
That's
But
Easter, but yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, um, it was 3 days, I think, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm.
But so what people are suspecting is that he's going to get killed at the show on the 8th, or something's going to happen, and then he's resurrected at the show on the 11th, and then they're going to film both of those shows and make like a live movie
Oh,
soundtrack
no,
slash
that'd be
soundtrack
cool.
thing. Yeah, so they're putting up the tickets for the second show tomorrow, so I'm going to try and snag some of those, and then I'll
Nice.
see about the Phoenix show because like my aunt lives out there, so I'll just. It's like I want to do ghost shows a disgusting amount of times to where I just don't want to do it anymore, and I don't think that'll be possible. But like, it's also just something to do. Like I don't fly well, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll just get on the plane and shit my pants maybe, and then I'll have to do an emergency landing. I don't know if like shitting your pants quantifies as an emergency landing
It
scenario.
doesn't. It does not.
Does it
Mm.
like have you been on a plane where someone shits their pants, or have you personally shit your pants? And
I haven't personally shit my pants on an airplane. I've been severely like ill and hungover to the point where I needed to shit my pants on a plane, but I've never actually pulled the trigger on it.
so
That's
you
probably a bad
actually
expression.
don't. So you don't actually know if it's worthy of
I don't.
emergency.
I'm
Like, do you have
gonna
a
guess it's
strong?
not. I have a strong opinion that it's not.
Okay, I'm taking your word for it, but I
But
wouldn't be surprised. Like,
you
what if
should.
it's the pilot?
That's
I
true.
mean, there's two of them for a reason, but like,
Yeah. Yes, one of them can
you
still
need to,
figure it out.
I don't know.
I think you
But
should make a T-shirt just in case. It says shit my pants on a plane to come see this show.
yeah, like I shit my pants on the way to see Ghost, and all I got was the shitty performance or something like that. Just something really wild. But
They'll
like,
be like, "You had that ready?" No, I just made it right now.
yeah, you see, you don't ask why this text isn't brown. Like, don't worry about it.
I was ironing on before the show started.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think that'll be a very interesting concept if they do the whole Easter scenario with him. That would just be like the ultimate religious trolling.
I think that's the plan, honestly. Like, I think that's kind of the idea, just to, which is funny because it's in September. Like, you could at least do it like near Easter or something. I don't know if it's like a different Easter somewhere else, but then it like I don't know how that all works, nor do I really care to be honest with you. But yeah, a little troll job never hurt anybody,
Yeah.
I think. And then they know that they're gonna make the money on it. I mean, like prices went through the fucking roof, but it is what it is. There's no like I won't pay $150 to see Depeche Mode, but I'll pay $400 to see Ghost. That's where I draw the line.
A person has to have a compass. They
That's
need to
it.
know where they're going to go, what their limit is for what they want to do.
Well, you don't have like a bucket list band, but is there? So I guess this question might not make sense, but I'll ask it. Oh, did you see by the way that Giannis left the game?
I did not.
He fell like on his hand or wrist or something.
Ow.
Yeah, it
That's a
didn't look good.
that's a lot of body to fall in that hand.
Um, But is there like a band or like a comedian or like a performance that you would just be like, cost is not like it doesn't matter?
I mean, I've seen a lot of the comedians I wanted to see in my life, so that's kind of the like it. I mean, again, I've seen the bands I've wanted to see.
Yeah, you've
Um,
kind of like already knocked those
yeah.
out. That's fair.
Woo. I think the only one I'd want to see that I haven't seen is Steve Martin.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd spend a lot of money to see him, and I think
He's
he
fucking
does Martin. Him
hilarious.
and Martin Short do their show together. So
Do they really?
yeah,
That's awesome.
still fighting my cold. Um, yeah, I mean, I've seen Adam Sandler live. That was a lot of fun.
He had to be funny.
Yeah, he
Did he
had Nick
does he
Swardson with
sing
him.
during his?
Yeah,
Nice.
he had Nick Swardson with him. David Spade was with him at that show, so it was
Did
fun.
did Sandler sing his medium pace song? Have you
No,
heard that song before?
I might have. I've listened to like some of his old albums where he used to sing on them.
I mean, it's a very distinctive song. He basically says like spit on your hand and stroke my cock at a
Yeah.
medium
Hmm.
pace.
Yep.
Did
Yep.
he
Yep.
sing
I've heard that
that
one.
at the show
No.
though?
No. No.
Fuck, that would have been so
He
funny.
sings. He does like his new songs that he does
Oh
like every
yeah,
time he
yeah.
tours. So, but then he always sings the song dedicated to Chris Farley after.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
yeah,
And
it's always a good one. Yeah,
cycling
that
back
was
to, well, I'm
a
sorry.
long time ago, but yeah, we saw him.
I mean, probably best to see them because I think like at for this isn't me saying they shouldn't, but
Mhm.
like I think a lot of like the comedians with everything being a little more like I don't want to say PC because that makes it sound like I think they can say whatever they want, but like there's a lot more like filters they have to go through, I think, to make jokes like approachable and like for the audience. And I'm just curious if like, do you think those artists would have been able to like use some of those jokes that you saw before, like now?
I mean, some of them know who their audience is, so they don't really care to change what they say on stage.
Sure.
One of the most famous for that is Anthony Jeselnik. He
Okay.
his niche is dark, very very dark comedy,
Okay.
and he
I can get
isn't
behind that.
changing for anybody.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense.
um, I mean, yeah, there's like I watch a lot of podcasts with comedians who talk about how it is doing comedy in like this time and how they structure jokes are a little bit different, but they always still get like back into the way of like still making it a sting, but like
Sure.
not to a
Yeah.
point where it's like overly offensive to anybody specifically. But
That's fair.
um, yeah, I mean things change like they're as they go on. I mean people
Right.
still love old bits anyway. Like it was when things were funny.
Right.
um, I mean it's it's a fun thing to watch them do and maneuver around.
Oh yeah, like
But
George
yeah,
was it George Carlin, right? Like George
yeah,
Carlin would never make it in
no.
today, but he's fucking hilarious. Like
I mean, he might have because he was so smart. He
that's
like knew
true.
how to
Yeah,
navigate everything.
yeah. That's
But
I give you that for sure.
yeah, like something like you don't really hear it played much anymore. Like even the old Richard Pryor stuff or the old Eddie Murphy stuff. Like no, you're not hearing any of that anymore.
Yeah,
It's
for
just
sure.
not an environment anymore for
I
that.
would also argue there isn't really, unless I haven't like just am not exposed to enough like comedians. I feel like pretty the comedian like pool is pretty much just like middle aged white guys at this point. Like there's probably like a handful of like you know I think Dave Chappelle is still probably one of the like top black comedians, I would say,
Hmm.
but like I kind of feel like there's not really much else outside of like middle-aged white men.
Oh yeah, it's really. I don't know if you know who Neil Brennan is, but he wrote done a bunch of movies and shows. He's a comedic person. He wrote Chappelle's Show with Dave Chappelle. Wrote the movie Half Baked, all that stuff.
Okay.
He came out and always talked about. He's like, it's interesting to see, back in the day when you could only have one popular black comedian at a time, where now you can have three. So he's
Used
talking
to be
about
the one
Chris
chicken.
Rock, Kevin Hart, and Dave Chappelle. Obviously, are the big top
Yeah,
three of the black comic, world. So yeah, that's that's basically how it is. And the
yeah,
rest are middle
it's
aged
like
white guys.
that's funny. But yeah, otherwise there'll be, six, seven, eight good shows. For Ghost, I've never really like I tend to get really invested in certain things, but it doesn't really like push me out of my comfort zone. I used to think Ghost was like really, really like hardcore, and
Mm.
obviously that was like idiot me, like maybe 6 years ago or whatever. Um, but I don't fly very often. I get out there and like do the airplane thing, and then just like meeting new people and dragging Celeste to the show so that it can be the gayest show I've ever been to, which I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I think music is to me is like my favorite form of media. I'm
Mm.
not a big movie or television person. So music is kind of just where I kind of obsess over more or less, and I think everybody should have that, regardless of like what form of media you're taking in. If your media is porn, we should also talk. Um, but nonetheless, I think it's good when you can like to know that you were around during like a peak time for a band is just like very exciting that you can say that like you saw whomever it is during like the pinnacle of their popularity because not to make this like sappy or something, but like I'm gonna go through more of my life without seeing Ghost on tour.
Mm.
Like I think a lot of people get caught up in like the I don't know why you're seeing them so many times, and like not Ghost specifically, but just like anything, taking in an artist or like going to see a play or something. It's like you're gonna go through more of your life not doing those things, and so like you might as well just do it until you get physically sick of it. That's my thought process on it.
Makes sense to me. Live, however you want. See the things you like until you don't like them anymore, or you're just you're like, I'm over.
That's
I
what
was
live, laugh, love means.
live until you're sick of it and then die.
That sounds great. Sign me up.
I think that's how all of life works. You just live until your body's sick of it, and then it just dies.
By that logic, I should be dead now. So
my
there's an
body's
asterisk there, I'm sure, but
my body's been sick of me for a while.
an
Uh,
asterisk.
yeah, I mean, is there any more about ghosts we need to know?
I mean, I'm sure there is, but at the same time, it was funny when we started. I was like, man, I don't really feel confident in being able to talk about ghosts for almost an hour, and here we are. So shame on me.
Time flies.
But
I mean, I talked
no,
about gay sex for over an hour from the first
that was
episode. So,
impressive, by the way. That I mean, I think we can all agree that Celeste kind of like really carried that
oh yeah,
show, but like
uh
you
huh.
were still obviously a big part of that, the whole second part of that whole thing. But no, I think everybody should just go see a fucking band they want to go see, and even if you go by yourself, like if you
Yeah.
feel safe to do so, just go see the fucking band. Go
Mm-hmm.
see the porn star you want to see. I don't know, like I don't know what live porn could be, but like go see a live thing that you want to go see. Like just
Yeah.
go do that. And if it's a stripper, even though we don't like strip clubs like we've talked about,
Mm-hmm.
like just go do it.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway. Thanks for
Good.
having me to talk
Of
about Ghost for
of
almost an hour.
course. I mean, this show is all about whatever topic you want to talk about. So it
I
didn't have to
know.
be crazy. Whatever you want to talk about. If you're passionate about it, let's talk about
Yeah, and see that's the thing. I was like, fuck, I am not passionate about anything.
it.
And so I was like, what should I talk about? And I like Brian was like, oh well, Ghost is like the obvious answer. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't know anything else. Like, what the fuck else am I gonna talk about? And that makes me sound like I don't know anything, but that's also kind of true. So it's
Hey,
okay.
neither do I. That's what I'm doing this for. And like I told Celeste in the first episode, I didn't expect to learn anything from that episode, and I really did.
Would
And
you have
I
like a
just learned a
favorite
lot.
thing you took away from that one
Oh
off
my
the top of
god.
your head?
Right off the
I
top of
know.
my head, no.
Yeah, this is where we're gonna like. This is how we're gonna finish the show. Just how gay people finish. That's how we're gonna finish.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else.
Together?
Yeah.
Or
We
one.
come together
Oh.
as one, as what Ghost says. So
Oh.
go have sex in the name of Satan with your. Oh yeah, you're a big wife guy now. So.
Yeah, I'm a big wife right now. Sorry.
Oh shit.
I'm
So
still a sinner. It's fine.
you look at her boobs. Ghost has a song about that too. We've
Yeah,
talked about
I
that.
do.
But cool. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, Roxy, thank you for coming. Everybody, thank you for watching, listening, however you're taking in this content. We'll have
We're
episode
all
3
in.
out hopefully sooner than later. I don't know. What our next guest schedule will be, but we'll find out sooner. Thank you so much, Roxy. And
Thank you.
don't forget to like this, people. Thank you very much.
See ya.
Bye.